So in this video, I'm going to be predicting all the end of season results and the final league positions. And you can join in as well by downloading the Hunch app and potentially winning £100. Atlantis Football has teamed up with our friends at Hunch to bring you a prediction game for the big end of season football finales, as Hunch is a platform that lets you run sports predictions against your mates for small wagers. They take the hassle out of running games like Last Man Standing or Score Predictor, so you can just enjoy the game and try to take a bit of cash from your mates. Hunch has put together a £100 prize for an Atlantis Football special, and entry is completely free. All you need to do is predict the winners of the 8 big end of season events, and whoever in the Atlantis community gets the most predictions right will take home the money. I've entered my predictions into the competition, so here's your chance to try to beat me. I do need to be clear that as this is playing for a cash prize, this is only available to UK residents over the age of 18, so sorry if you aren't able to take part, but you can put your predictions in the comments, and if any of you get all 8 right, I'll shout you out in a future video. I'll leave the Hunch app linked in the description below if you're able to play along, but now that that's out the way, we can get into the predictions. So there are 8 end of season events to predict. There's the Champions League, Premier League, Europa League, Europa Conference League, Top 4, Relegation, FA Cup and the playoffs. We'll leave the most interesting ones till last and quickly go through the others. So the Europa Conference League final between Feyenoord and Roma actually looks quite good, arguably a better game than the Europa League final. In this game I expect Feyenoord to dominate possession with Mourinho's side sitting deep and looking to hit them on the counter. Because of this, I don't think Roma's attacking threat is going to be significant, and they'll be reliant on Tammy Abraham to potentially nick a goal. Abraham is the second highest goal scorer in the competition, behind Feyenoord's Cyril Dessers. And I do think that this game will come down to both sides' finishing ability. However, despite it being tight, I've got a gut feeling that either Luis Sinistera or Dessers will get a winning goal for Feyenoord, maybe in extra time, and take home the trophy for the Dutch side. So I'm going to predict Feyenoord winning this one 1-0 in extra time. In this game, I think Manchester United fans should look out for Tyrell Malacia, the left back who has been recently linked with Manchester United since Ten Hag's appointment. Luis Sinistera in that Feyenoord side is another one, and Lorenzo Pellegrini from Roma. Next up, we've got the Championship playoffs, and to be honest, this is probably the hardest of the 8 to predict. I haven't watched much Championship this season, so this is probably one you can beat me on. Huddersfield have Luton in the semis, and even though usually the side that finishes 6th comes into the playoffs in great form, Luton did trail off towards the end of the season, and I just think over 2 legs Huddersfield will win the home tie in the second leg, and so I'll go for a 1-1 draw at Kenilworth Road and a 2-0 win to Huddersfield at the John Smith Stadium. The other semi-final is Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United, who had 2 1-1 draws this season, and so I do think that this one will be the closer of the 2 semi-finals. The first leg is at Bramall Lane, and I can see Paul Heckingbottom's side snatching a 2-1 win, but I think at the City Ground we'll see Forest win 2-1, take it to extra time and then win it with a winner to make it 3-1 in extra time. In the final, I'm back in Nottingham Forest. They probably should have got promotion automatically, and we're unlucky not to go up already, but they've ended the season in fantastic form, and so I think we'll see them carry that on into the playoffs, especially if they can get through the semi-finals, which I think they will, and so I'm going to go for a Nottingham Forest 3-0 win in the final. And for Manchester United fans, keep a lookout for James Garner, as he is one of Nottingham Forest's key players, so definitely one to watch over the playoffs. Also Jed Spence as well, who's also at Nottingham Forest. He's a right back that's been linked with a lot of big clubs, including Manchester United, so those 2 players are definitely the 2 that I would be looking at. So now we move on to the Europa League final between Frankfurt and Rangers, and this one again looks like a very good final. I expect to see Eintracht Frankfurt control possession, with Rangers sitting deep and looking to hit on the counter. I think Frankfurt will score first, but Rangers will equalise through a James Tavernier penalty, I'm going to guess, and so I can see it being 1-1 around the 60th minute mark, but I think Frankfurt in the end will get a goal and then add another to make it 3-1. In this game, Amad Diallo would obviously be the one that Manchester United fans know, but he's unlikely to play, I'd say, so I would say James Tavernier, who's Rangers' right back, and Ndicka, who is Frankfurt's left-sided centre back. So we've done the Europa League and the Conference League as well as the playoffs, so let's move on to the Premier League. The relegation fight looks very interesting. I think the odds are stacked against Leeds, however, especially with Everton's win against Leicester. They've got Chelsea midweek, which actually is perfect timing considering Chelsea have the FA Cup final on the weekend, and so I think Leeds might be able to snatch a draw at home, but against Brighton and Brentford, I'm predicting just 1 point from both of those games, a draw and a loss, and so I reckon they'll finish with 36 points, which would require either Everton to lose their last 4 or Burnley to pick up only 1 point from their last 3 because of the goal difference. I think Burnley will pull it out of the bag, picking up a win and a draw against Tottenham, Newcastle or Villa to end the season with 38 points, and so that would leave Everton just needing a single point from the games against Watford, Brentford, Palace and Arsenal, which I think they'll get, and actually I think they'll pick up 4 points from those 4 with a win and a draw, leaving them with 40 points, and so my prediction is that Leeds will be the team to go down. Now we move on to the top 4 race, and at the moment Arsenal are 4 points clear of Tottenham with 3 games to go. However, Arsenal do play Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I think Conte's side will pick up a 2-1 victory in that game, as I can see both Son and Kane ripping Arsenal's backline apart at least 3 or 4 times in the game, and those two are so clinical, which I think will be the difference. That leaves Newcastle away and Everton at home for Arsenal, and Tottenham would have Burnley at home and Norwich away. I think that Arsenal will lose to Newcastle and beat Everton, giving them 3 points from the last 3 and a total of 69 points. However, I also think that Tottenham will draw against Burnley and beat Norwich, which will give them 7 points from the last 3, which would also give them 69 points. So that would mean that Tottenham just about take 4th, having a slightly better goal difference than Arsenal, and so my final prediction is that Tottenham will be the side to get top 4. And now we move on to the first of these events, which will be the FA Cup final, which will take place on Saturday between Chelsea and Liverpool. I see this one going to extra time because all 3 games between the two sides this season have finished in a draw after 90 minutes, and this will also be aided by the fact that Chelsea will probably be content to sit deep and hit on the counter, and I think unlike the 2-2 draw earlier on in the season in the Premier League, and even the League Cup final to be fair, this will be a cagier affair, with this final coming in and amongst Liverpool's title and Champions League charges. So I'm going to predict a 0-0 after 90 minutes, and in extra time I think Liverpool will win it with a goal from either Mane or Diaz, depending on who is on the pitch at the time. And the reason I go for Liverpool is because I think they have the more clinical finishers, and I think that makes a huge difference in finals, as the game can be won or lost by one clinical finish or a piece of magic, and that's what I think will happen, and so I've gone for Liverpool to win the FA Cup. And now we move on to the big events, the Premier League title race and the Champions League. We'll start with the Premier League, and at the moment City are 3 points ahead of Liverpool with just 3 games to play, with City being just 4 goals ahead in the goal difference as well. That would require City to lose one of their last 3 and Liverpool to win all of theirs, whilst also recording a goal difference of +4 or maybe +5 compared to City's, which is a massive ask. City have Wolves away, West Ham away and Villa at home, and it's hard to see them dropping points at all in those 3. However, I think against either West Ham or Wolves they will draw, but even then they'd still be a point ahead of Liverpool, and so my prediction is that despite Liverpool winning their last 3, City will win the title by a point. I think Liverpool's best bet is that City draw against Wolves and West Ham, as I can't see City losing those games, but even then City rarely drop points back to back, making Liverpool's draw against Tottenham vital in the title race, and so for those reasons I've gone for City to win the title. And the last event is obviously the Champions League final between Real Madrid and Liverpool, and this is definitely the one I'm looking forward to most. The pattern of this game will most likely be Liverpool controlling possession, with Madrid initially looking to press aggressively but dropping back into a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1 shape depending on how Ancelotti sets up, and Madrid will look most dangerous on the counter, particularly from the left side with Vinicius up against Alexander-Arnold, and I can see Madrid scoring from this side, probably with Vinicius making a run in behind Trent, standing him up and then putting a ball across the box for Benzema to put into the net. However, I see Liverpool scoring in the first half, or at least in the first 60 minutes, and I think it will come from a Trent cross from a deep position on the right after a pass back to him, and I think Mane or Jota will score the header to level the game. And so like the FA Cup final, I do think this game will go to extra time, and I think Eduardo Camavinga will be the key in midfield for Madrid, progressing the Real attack forward swiftly, but also being the man to break up Liverpool's attacks through the centre. I'm going for Real Madrid to win the game in extra time, and I think it will be one of the subs for Real Madrid who get the winner, and I'm going to go for Rodrigo to score once again, the winner for Real Madrid, to give them their 14th Champions League title in a 2-1 victory in extra time. In terms of players to look out for, you probably already know all the players anyway, but I would say Eduardo Camavinga is probably the one I'm most excited about. I don't know if he'll definitely start, but he should come on in the game, and when he comes on, just look at the difference he makes in that Real Madrid central midfield, and bear in mind that he's still just 19 years old. So these are my final predictions. Let me know your predictions in the comment section below. If you download the Hunch app, as I've said, you could potentially win £100, and it's free to sign up, so definitely do that. Join the Atlantis football game, and just by doing that you will help to support the channel, and also if you could give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.